This is the pangolin. Often likened to an artichoke on legs, this little-known animal holds the odd distinction of being the only mammal covered in scales. Unfortunately, this uniqueness may be its undoing. The pangolin is also the most illegally trafficked animal on Earth, thanks to an insatiable demand for its scales and meat. It's considered such a delicacy in China and Vietnam that the trafficking of this scaly anteater surpasses that of even rhinos and elephants. Experts say that if the trafficking of pangolins is not slowed dramatically or halted, this rare creature could become extinct before most people know it even existed. But conservationists are battling to save the pangolin before that happens. Cuc Phuong National Park is one of the treasures of Vietnam and home to Save Vietnam's Wildlife, a Vietnamese nonprofit on the front lines of pangolin conservation. We visited Save Vietnam's Wildlife as they are preparing to release 35 critically endangered sunda pangolins back into the wild.
Hey boy. This is actually the biggest release we've ever done as an organisation. We are unique in Vietnam in terms of being able to successfully rehabilitate and release this species. Even on a global platform, there are not many places that can successfully keep pangolins in captivity.
Unaware that these wooden boxes were taking them to freedom, some of the pangolins didn't adapt very well to being locked inside. Thai is the program's director and a passionate protector of the pangolin.
Because the pangolin are nocturnal, so that's why we need to use the red light. It's good for their eyes. So here we have one of the animal. His name is Lucky. Right now we don't have much information about pangolin in the wild, so we really need to understand more about the pangolin.
What we do know is that pangolin scales are made of keratin, the same substance as human fingernails. When threatened, the pangolin rolls up into a ball that's impenetrable to every species on Earth, except humans. For the next 48 hours, the pangolins would be on a marathon drive down almost the entire length of Vietnam. Their destination? Cat Tien National Park, where the animals would be released in 2 days. This is Ho Chi Minh City, the powerhouse of the Vietnamese economy. Ho Chi Minh is a bustling metropolis and a key point along the route of the pangolin trade. Even though the pangolin trade is illegal, there's little actual enforcement in Vietnam, and lots of traditional medicine sellers still carry the animal. Ty and I visited a street lined with traditional medicine shops to investigate whether they were selling pangolin scales. We used a hidden camera to avoid suspicion. This is cooked pangolin scale. So what does this do? Many Vietnamese and Chinese still swear by pangolin scales as a panacea that cures everything from cancer to eczema. It's also thought to be an aphrodisiac. It quickly became clear that despite their illegal status, pangolin scales are not hard to find in Vietnam. Cat Tien National Park is a lush forest about 3 hours south of Ho Chi Minh. With a river surrounding the park, there's an extra barrier against poachers who may want to prey on its plentiful wildlife. When pangolins are captured by poachers, they go through a truly traumatic experience. The pangolins are tightly balled in netted sacks, unable to move, with no access to food or water. Many pangolins are unable to survive, and that's why Save Vietnam's Wildlife's effort to save them is so important. The pangolins would be released one by one. Since they're not very sociable creatures, even among their own species, each pangolin would be released at a considerable distance from the others. Even though these wild animals were being set free, many of them seemed cautious about leaving the boxes they'd called home for the past 2 days.
Hi, pangolin. You gonna climb me?
One of them even took a liking to me.
Oh my god, she's sniffing me out.
Our expedition started after nightfall and took us deep into the dark, wet, muddy jungle as we released each pangolin. Some were friskier than others.
Oh my god, look at him climb. Seeing that last pangolin go into the woods and climb all those trees like crazy and be so happy made all of this worth it, even though I feel totally gross.
No one knows how many pangolins are left in the wild. Experts estimate that over 1 million pangolins have been traded in the past decade. Yet, even as this creature rapidly disappears, much of the world doesn't know about its plight. The pangolin's only hope may be organizations like Save Vietnam's Wildlife, who are working fervently to keep them alive and raise awareness before they vanish completely.